All right, everyone. This is going to be the reading, the energy reading, the frequency reading, the vibration reading for November 11th, 2025. And November 11th, 2025 is comprised of the following numbers: 11, 11, 9, and 315, because it is the 315th day of the year. Remember that numerology indicates multiple numbers that are always vibing and sending forth energy on multiple levels. For those of you who've seen me, you already like my videos on the individual numbers. You know that the 11 is a master number. It's actually called the master teacher. So here we have an 11 plus 11, which is double 11, plus the energy of the nine, which comes to basically 22. Now, when you add the individual numbers up, it doesn't come down to 22. But if you look at it at 22, 22 is a master number for relationships. 22 is the master builder. So you have the master teacher and the master builder, two high vibrational sets of energy that indicate luck, good fortune, improvement in relationships, great communication, foundational building, setting structure in place, and going to another level. You can also break it down and see the 11 is a two energy. Two plus two is a four energy. Two is about relationships, not necessarily on a world view, not necessarily on a global scope, but it is about relationships. It is about partnership and diplomacy, working together. And the four is about foundations, it's about building, it's about home, it's about making things safe on one level. The two on the down level is someone who's a little bit controlling, right? Someone who is more of a, I don't want to work with you. I want to work with me. It's my way or the highway, right? Someone with a mothering, hovering type energy. The four, where we're not really on a high vibration, is someone who is making rules in a fashion that it prevents you from thriving, right? And then, of course, the nine is about loss. It is the spiritual enlightenment. It is about learning on a higher level. Most of the time, the nine brings a great sense of loss because things are changing. Sometimes they're changing faster than you would like for them to. Most of the time, that's the case. So, another energy, before I forget, is the four, because we have 40 days left in the year. And again, so now we look at the four is here twice at least. The two is here twice at least. The 11 is here twice at least. Now, four and four is eight, and that's another thing. So this means that there's more, there's like a double portion, a theme of things coming in twos, a theme of working with others, needing to with others in order for your foundations to be stable, in order for your money to prosper. Also, a need to invest in some things such as gardening, things for the earth, restorative practices, growing your own food, building at home within your place, sustainable gardening, sustainable things of that nature, but working with other people, right? Taking care of the earth is definitely in that aspect. So when you see numbers that show up and they show up as one, it's like, okay, this is a message. I need to learn something from today because 11 is here. It shows up twice. Wait, I need to pay attention because this message is going to impact me beyond this day. And that's exactly what November 11th, 2025 is about. The things that happen today are going to be impactful beyond this moment. So whether it is the information that you receive regarding home and sustainability, regarding food, because the food is from the second house, right? The fourth house is home and your foundation. And then the eighth house is death on one side, letting go of things, research, you know, the another form of enemies, another form of poison. You could find out on this day that a food source has been compromised and making people sick. There could be news of an outbreak because of the 2, 4, and 8 energy together. Okay. This Let's look at the date in a little bit more detail. With the 315, 315 days. And by the way, I would encourage you to look up key events that happened in 1940 and see, let me see this. Let me see. This is the shamanic part of what happens when I do the readings. Looks like there was war happening around that time, Germany and invading an area. So I would look for more information. Let's go down further about invasions or wars or something to that effect. Foreign things happening at a much higher pace. Somewhat because that just came to mind. So that 40 is more than likely going to repeat this year. Aside from the warring, chaotic energy that is in the astrology chart, this is specifically like an invasion type. And that was, we had lots of wars, right? So that was a key thing that happened. So a key event would happen in some war that's taking place right now. There's several wars going on right now. So pay attention to that. Now, back to the 315. 3, 1, and 5 make up 9, which gives credence to this being a 9-day again. Again, you look at 9 as loss, as a spiritual transformation, as acceptance of things. But the way the 9 is formed, meaning the 3, the 1, and the 5. So there could be loss in traveling. There could be loss while someone's attempting to travel. So this could be a sibling. Yes, it could be a sibling. This could be an aunt. This could be, someone in that arena for you, a family member traveling, or someone who feels like that. Can be a younger person, a younger sibling, having an accident, right? And this could be things as simple as loss of the ability to drive for a moment, loss of the ability to use some portion of your body for a moment. Like if your arm is in the sleeve, that is a sense of loss. Of course, it can be the ultimate loss of life, but there could be a major crash today, a major car accident today happening in the west of New York area. So definitely within the United States to the west of New York, direct west, somewhere in that area, some crash that makes the news. Okay. And could be another incident with a plane as well. Initially, it shows up like maybe, a car accident, but there could also be some incident with a plane. Okay. So when we look at that loss energy, this loss is definitely going to impact you at the home level, and it's going to bring a sense of grief, right? And there could also be more travel restrictions as a loss, right? Your inability to get to your destination because the plane is grounded or the train station isn't running for some event. There's just a lot of different reasons, but just look at that as something that is going to take place today. A huge focus on your foundation, building your foundation, working on it, being stable, finding ways to be stable, finding things that will progress you. That's a huge focus of the day. So let's move into the astrology. And we start the astrology with you could have some issues with travel because of the energy that's here. So be very careful when you're traveling, especially if you are a pedestrian or a jogger. That could be an incident today. And again, there's some issues happening at home. So there's there's some devastation going on at home, fights, fire, um, attacks. So there might be a need for you to find a new location, a new home location, whether it's a new physical home within a city or a new state or a new country. You might need to work on the plans. And I see that some of you knew that your home situation was unstable and you had started making a plan to escape it, but then you, for whatever reason, changed your mind. And that change with you changed your mind and you're dealing with a person who changes their mind, a double-minded person. And therefore you thought things were getting better and they aren't. So you need to go back to making your plans to leave that situation because I'm showing that there's a level of violence in that home situation that you really should not be in because it is not going to end well. As a matter of fact, the way it ends is looks like in it looks like it ends up in the law being involved and there could be hospitalization or prison time coming because of that instance. So that's and somebody having to move in with their mother. So you can be proactive and leave and avoid all of this. If not, the energy is there for it to escalate to the law being involved, jail time, hospitalization, and then restrictions and confinements by having to live with someone else that you don't necessarily want to live with. Okay. So let's look at some other energies here. There's hospitalization showing up here for some people because of some type of disease associated with that could be a heart issue, that could be a liver issue. There's a couple different issues there. So definitely hospitalization. Look into your health because it's not exactly what you need it to be. This could also be not just a heart attack per se, but something like you have a mini heart episode because of your weight or because of some medication as well, something that's not sitting well with you. Okay. So a good day to go to the doctor, listen to your body. If you feel like something's off, then more than likely it is off and you need to go have it check out. The sun is with Venus again, and right now when we start the day, that's going around your communication house and calling for balance, the need for balance in whatever you're doing, whatever you're communicating. Temper your words, the need to add grace as you're speaking to people, while at the same time getting your point across. Definitely highlighting that third house and that writing and that of going back to making plans. You need to be clear about the plans and you need to have some self love and some family love. So if you have children, you got to love you and the children more than you love the relationship. Also, with the communication, this means we're definitely going to have more communication about the family, the food, the children. So expect more news about from the government regarding their shutdown. It will progress today to the next level of them opening. So expect that news, and so that someone will be able to restore the food assistance program. That news is coming. Another political figure. This is the start of their transition from this life to the next one. A major political figure, so another elderly person. So I would say 70s, 80s, somewhere in there. As far as the age will transition, meaning pass. Y'all know I have to be careful of how I say things on these apps because they don't like when I tell the truth. Um, so it looks like this person, I say political, but they could have been a lawyer or a law enforcement. It doesn't necessarily have to be political. They could have had something to do with the legal system, justice system. They even could be a priest. It could be a priest that has ties to the political environment. So that person's transition is happening. So remember, my reading is always the 3 days, depending on where you are. This is based out of New York. So based out of New York. If you're somewhere else in the world, thank you to my internationals. Love you guys. If you're somewhere else, remember you have to shift it based on wherever you are. Okay. So let's go move the energy forward a little bit. See where this stuff goes today. By the afternoon, they will have a definitive answer about the SNAP benefit. So after 2 p.m. Eastern my time, there would be definite, clear communication about that coming out. Um, then there's more health things showing up for a lot of people. Your intuition may be a little scattered in the afternoon, and it's because there's a lot of conflicting things coming your way with the that we got the moon and the Jupiter energy that's showing up like in the 11th house. And then we have this K2 energy, which is showing up in the 12th house, which 12th house is all about spirituality, which is also natally ruled by Jupiter. So we have a lot of energy and a lot of thoughts and a lot of you hear that lot of just different things. And that can cause confusion. So you have to slow down a moment. As you get these different thoughts and insights from your intuition, write them down because sometimes it can be a trick, meaning your intuition can be off just based on a lot of other things that's clouding it. And when you write it out, you will kind of be able to sort through what was being influenced by something else and not your true intuition. Meaning, was your diet off? Were you meditating? Were you arguing with someone? Were you watching a program? Something that you're doing may be clouding the intuition. So, in order to see clearly, write everything out. Don't act on anything right away. Don't go really off on any particular tangent either way. Just write it out and then revisit it later when your mind is clear because there's definitely some confusion going around. And then also, if your health is not doing well physically, like your health isn't well, sometimes it's hard to have a clear head. So that's also why I tend to not do readings if I don't feel well. Okay, any other energy? And for some of you guys, you're just in this time of meeting a new person, a new relationship is showing up. So this is the week for some of you. This is like a huge week for you to meet someone that you're going to actually have a long-term type relationship with. Someone who knows what they want It is a mover kind of person, a person who is clear as in what direction they want to go in, and they speak on it, they act. They don't they're not one to say, let you make the move. They're one to say, hey, I'm interested. Are you interested? Let's do this. So it's that kind of energy. And you might be okay with that, you might not, but that's the type of energy that's coming. And because of the way it is, this could take place at some type of artistic event, some type of musical event, some type of play or show, someplace where you're enjoying scenery. Could also just be out doing photography where you meet this person, but that is happening today. Congratulations to you. Some of you mothers are having a little bit of struggle because your children have decided to move, relocate, and this relocation is not even that far away. They are not leaving and going like, thousands of miles away. So some of you guys are having an issue, but if your child is relocating for something that's better for them, looks like it's better for them because it's a job maybe in tech. It's a job that's going to advance their career. It's something they have wanted, they have desired, they've been working toward, and it's finally happening for them. Extend some grace and love and celebrate with them. There is also a focus on careers. There's a little bit of careers kind of merging. So, for instance, let's just say you're a therapist and all of a sudden you're staging houses as well, because you're staging houses based on the fact that the calming effects of the aesthetics. So you're adding that to like your staging to help people deal with different things like depression, anxiety, or whatever. So there's like a very creative energy that's taking place for some people who have one job, one business, and they're transitioning it over to another thing that's helpful for people. It's nurturing for people. This is also because of all those four energies, a great day for real estate, a great day to find someplace. You can find a group home that you can, set up. You can also find a apartment complex, a duplex, something like that. Whatever you're looking for in the real estate arena, this is definitely a day to go out and look at them. Don't actually try to build, don't actually put in a contract, but it is a great day to locate whatever you're looking for. You do need to do a little bit of research because of the hidden energies, meaning if you're looking at a property, it could have some foundation issues that you don't know about, and you might end up having to come out of pocket more later once you buy it. That kind of energy is happening. So you need to actually get more information before you make a purchase. Don't be impulsive because there's a little bit of that impulsive nature that is out there. Definitely not a good time to build. Purchase something that's already established, and or land, basic land, and wait, but not don't start a building project right now. That's because during an unstable time, foundations are normally to the energy for instability normally can also be part of the foundation. And then you can later have some issues where someone comes back and sues you. Okay. That's how astrology works. It gives you all of this stuff, all of these different things. So let's look at that's in his own house, that's in his own house, that's in his own house. So you have a lot of planets in their own house. Kind of good, right? Meaning they're passing by and delivering some extra value to their house, right? So that means there's an extra focus on your body because Mars is in its own house. And there's an extra focus on movement because Mars is in its own house, right? But there could also be an extra focus on disease because Mars is in its own house. You have to look at the both sides of it. If you aren't moving and taking care of your body, then the opposite, meaning disease, could show up. if you are moving and taking care of yourself, you might notice you've made progression in your health. You're able to touch your toes, whereas you weren't able to touch your toes before. So pay attention today because either way, that energy is going to propel you towards the next part of life, like how you feel about things in general. Okay, so let's move on. Go a little bit faster here. Definitely at one side of the day, one part of the day towards the afternoon, you're just gonna feel like everything is happening at once, good and bad, right? So it could be a lot of great news, right? You could definitely hear back about a job that you applied for, which means now you have to figure out how you're going to move, how you when your lease is up, all kinds of things. So it brings about a lot of other motion, a lot of other activities. You could be going to some place that you've always wanted to visit, or you finally got the tickets to the show that you wanted to go to, or you're planning a long distance travel to Paris and finally everything's working out. But there's still a lot of chaos. And that chaos means that you have to be extra careful today because there's still the possibility of these accidents that are happening. There's the possibility of the violence in the workplace that's happening. There's the possibility of the enemies coming out and showing themselves to try to block whatever it is that you're doing. So, because that kind of energy is here and it's a massive amount of energy, right? So, it's ideal for you to just focus on home. Now, if you have to leave, you have to relocate. Be careful. One, hopefully, you don't have to do it until next week sometime, but be careful. Check everything out. Check your surroundings. Check your vehicle. Check all the parts and make sure that everything's working as it should be. Don't tell everyone everything that you intend to do because you don't want anyone to put a stumbling block in your way. Um, when it says gang violence, some type of gang, it may not be. So it could be gang in the form of there's people who are considered gangs, but they're actually working for governments. So that kind of violence increases later on today. That's be careful with father figures around little girls. That's the best way I'm going to say that. Oh, you might get some news about some people who were around little girls later on today. Let's see. One more thing. Take care of your eyes today because there could be some issues with the eyes. You can expect more news about food, medicine, and pharmaceuticals, drugs. Definitely a lot of competitiveness. It's secrecy. So be careful. There could be a lot of conflict and drama overall for the day. And mental affliction. The mind is already afflicted because the moon is the mind. K2 is right there with it. So it's and then you got Rahu aspecting it. So the mind is means that some people are not necessarily having clear thought. Um, so it's really this is not a time for you to take medications that change how you think or change how you your ability to discern. So alcohol and things like that just kind of change your ability to react. This is not a good time for that because the mind is not as strong as it needs to be right now. A lot of arguments can take place, a lot of um, violence at sports could take place today that could lead to some people losing their lives. What started out as a fun event just ends up being chaotic. Um, so that's not really good energy right there. Okay, so, and this is a good time for me to tell you guys if you would like to learn more about the different frequencies and the numbers in particular, then we can meet up on my school account. And I just saw some other energy that I wanted to focus on. There can be a lack of clarity at the workplace with contracts because some people are not reading the details of their contract. So you could think that things are set up one way when they aren't. And that could be impactful to your business or your job. So you're going to have to read that. Some of you, if you have a contract that is term based, so like in healthcare, we have 13 weeks and 6 months and that kind of thing, you may have the terms incorrect. So you need to double check that because I see that is an issue. It's the details. The details are you didn't pay attention. So it could even be the amount of money that they promise you is based on, say you get a bonus and the bonus is you get $10,000, but you don't get that $10,000 until you've completed half of the assignment of or something to that effect. So it's would behoove you to actually go back and double check that and get some clarification. If you hadn't started the job, get the clarification now and see if you can have the contract modified because that's going to cause some issues for you and your money. Um, Looks like some of you are doing more traveling with your job too, which is kind of good. That's helpful. Um, but just be careful everywhere you go, right? If you're driving, remember accidents are on the rise right now. Flying delays are happening, accidents are happening. So just be careful wherever you are. But it looks like financially that travel is good for you. See, there's always extra little things in the chart, which is why I was doing this daily. Now I'm only going to do this daily for this week. I don't know how I'm going to do it next week. So, all right. Now remember, you can join me on School where we can interact, learn about frequencies and vibrations and healing, and we can actually have more conversation on that platform. Okay. You guys take care. Bye.